Here he is. There's Ken Jenkins. Good morning there, Chairman. How are you, sir?
Good morning, TJ, and good morning, Westchester.
There we go. There we go. So, sir, just to cover some recent news, County Executive Rob Astrino, the man you are looking to unseat in the next few months, has appointed a liaison to the religious community. And from your side of the table, there have been cries of, well, it's a tepid answer to too many budget cuts, et cetera, et cetera. What say you about that, sir?
Well, that's really the fact of the matter. I mean, certainly the administration has been meeting with members of the religious community right from the very beginning, as they should, as was done in every previous administration. But the majority of services, there's this really delicate balance between the public and the private partnerships. And the churches have been an essential part of that for many, many years. And all of these budget cuts have devastated them. Most of them have shelters. Most of them have child care centers. They provide an essential outlet for social services. They're really kind of like our first responders in the social services arena. So Alfreda Williams, who's the chair of community services, and Mary Jane Shimsky took time to point out that the appointee, Rosa Boone, who did a marvelous job as the executive director of the Coalition for Hungry and Homeless, with Food Bank as the other partner, they lost over $150,000, and they pointed that out as well yesterday. The child care subsidies, which we have found out for last year, were not short, but in essence were $1.2 million in surplus, even at the 20% level. So all of these things are ruses trying to circumvent and trying to divert people from the facts that these cuts are devastating and they don't serve the people.
Now, are you saying that when you say all this, let's get inside the mind of a politician. Let's get inside the mind of a Democrat. Are you trying to imply that Rob Astrino doesn't care about these people?
Well, I'm not trying to imply that. The facts of the matter is that actions have shown that the Tea Party attitude that says that we don't have government helping to provide these services is the mantra of the day. And that has not changed from Washington right down here to Westchester County.
So Rob Astrino doesn't care about these people. Is this like a Kanye West moment?
He thinks there's a different opportunity. So we want to push those services to volunteers. And quite frankly, they can't keep lights on. They can't put food out with volunteer work. They certainly can help people, and churches have been doing a marvelous job for that from their inception. Even the church, the Pope, made it very clear that government has a role to play, and it is actually anti-Catholic from what the Pope was saying to be devastating these levels of service.
So, but here's the thing. Now, in response to that, Astrino said, "quote The services are there. If somebody's hungry, they're going to get help." Now, isn't that the case? If right now, today in Westchester County, if you're hungry, you seek out the help, you're going to get the help. Isn't that a fact?
Well, no, because both the Coalition for Hungry and Homeless and Food Bank of Westchester will tell you that there are more people that need that help.
Right, and aren't they getting it?
Because of the service cuts that have been made.
But won't they get it? But they'll get it, though. They'll get it, right?
They will get it. No,
well, there you go.
They'll try to get it, but what happens is there's just not enough. So there's more people that need those services.
So there are people. So there are people right now, Ken Jenkins, who need help that aren't getting it. That need help, are seeking it, but aren't getting it. There are people who are going hungry right now that are not receiving services.
That is absolutely correct.
And people who seek it out.
Any of the non-for-profit community would tell you that. And in Westchester County, one of the richest counties in the country, it is just unconscionable
now,
that
Bishop,
we have this level of service.
Bishop Collie Edward, and we're speaking with Ken Jenkins, chairman of the County Board of Legislators and a candidate for county executive. Bishop Collie Edwards, who is with the Friendship Worship Center in Mount Vernon, who runs an emergency shelter, says that he's excited about the collaboration. He said, quote, that he thinks it's cost effective. He said he's concerned about the county budget cuts, but he said that his community has mastered taking less and making more. He seems fine with all this. A bishop himself, Collie Edwards.
Well, you know what? Bishop Edwards Church just got a contract that we approved in ANC last week. So I'm not really concerned about that particular thing. If you go through all of the faith-based organizations and the organization that he happens to lead, which is the United Black Clergy in Mount Vernon, that the overwhelming majority of people see these cuts as devastating. program in New Rochelle that's got additional support, had lost particular support from the Department of Social Services. There's $83 million of services that we provide to contract vendors like churches and like not-for-profit organizations, 820 different organizations. And the fact of the matter is these budget cuts have been devastating and, quite frankly, haven't had to be made. We could cut in other areas.
So, in other words,
in other
okay, so I asked you earlier if you were implying that Rob Astorino doesn't care, and you said, well, the facts back it up. So you're saying, in fact, that Rob Astorino makes these cuts, they're devastating cuts, people end up with less, and basically what you're saying is that he's able to go home and put his head on his pillow and sleep soundly because, in fact, he doesn't care.
Well, he doesn't care.
That's the only thing that anybody really could come away from this is that you're saying that he does all this, he signs these cuts because at the end of the day he sleeps like a baby, and the only way that somebody could sleep like a baby after making devastating cuts is if they just don't care.
Well, that's because of their philosophy in government.
So he doesn't care.
He doesn't care about the level of service being provided.
So he doesn't care about the people who don't get those services then. Would you go there? Would you take a step that most politicians are afraid to take? Would you actually take that step and say right here and right now that you're saying categorically that Rob Astorino doesn't care based on his political? Would you say he doesn't care as a man?
What I would say is that they think that there's a different way, and that way has clearly not worked.
And the only way to go with the way that doesn't work because he doesn't care. Republicans don't care.
Not every Republican, because you had a great Republican who we laid to rest last week,
right?
O'Rourke.
He cared, but Rob Astorino doesn't.
But who cared enough to invest in the programs that make Westchester strong. That there's no one in Westchester, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, that wants to see people laying in the street not being serviced. Right. And the question now isn't whether or not someone can get a service; it's at what quality and at what level and what turnaround time. So, yeah, if it takes you a month to get a service that you need today, that's not good, and that's what is the mantra from the Tea Party and from Rob Astorino.
You know what? You come here every week, and you hold your ground. You do it respectfully, and I respect that. And I could never, ever do what you do, sir. I could never, ever do what you or Astorino do. Woo! I don't know how you get up this early and start it all over again. Ken Jenkins, this is going to be a heck of a campaign. I'm looking forward to being a part of it. And have yourself a good rest of the day. Be safe as you travel about the county.
And you too, and good morning, Westchester.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye. There goes Ken Jenkins, the chairman of the County Board of Legislators.